What's up guys, NepentheZ here and welcome back to another episode of The Road to Glory. Thank you guys as per usual for the incredible support given on the series. On screen is the team that we are taking into the next game. 3 Player of the Month cards, 2 Team of the Years, 2 SBCs, 1 monthly reward and 3 gold standard. It's a pretty nice team. I'm not getting bored with it, but I do want to talk about my team, my teams, my players, the cards I've got as sellables, and what can happen potentially with the team this episode, along with a lot of your comments. But to get into it, I've got a lot of cards, man, in this team. A lot of cards that are untradeable, so just, you know, I either play them or I don't, right? I've got a lot of favourite cards that I enjoy, that I want to use. And in general, you know, we've tried the 2-team thing this weekend, and so far it's been alright. We've got a pretty good record up to this point, but I wasn't sold on 2 teams. I said to you guys, you know, I'll use this weekend league as a test to see how well I can do with using 2 teams, rotating 2 squads. And honestly, it was a struggle. Even in the games that I'd won, it was a struggle. You know, there were so many things, just tiny little things that were wrong. And one thing that I definitely want to get back to doing is using just 1 team, or at least finding 2 teams that are so unbelievably similar that it doesn't matter that I'm using 2 teams. You know, right now I literally have 2 individual teams. I have the 1 team and then a bench, and then I switch the team. I go to the squad selector and pick a new team, and that's the second team. You know, the second team has Nainggolan, Team of the Year Dani Alves, that Barzagli card, and I literally built the second team almost to accommodate the Team of the Year Dani Alves. And that's not smart, you know, changing a whole team to accommodate 1 player, less a fullback, you know, is pretty idiotic, right? Like, the fullbacks, they don't make that much of a difference in this game. They make a bit of a difference, you know, like, but ultimately, if you're using a regular Bellerin or a regular Kyle Walker, and you played 100 games with them, the output that you'll get from them will be near identical to Team of the Year Marcelo and Team of the Year Dani Alves. You know, you might get the odd extra tackle in here or there with the Team of the Years. You might get an extra assist here or there with the Team of the Years. You might get like an extra goal here or there with the Team of the Years. But overall, they're not game changing for you. They're not gonna win you or lose you games. It's not in the DNA. It's not in the makeup of the fullbacks. So for me to change my whole team, or to create a second team to get in, you know, the Team of the Year card, it's pretty stupid. You know, it's pretty stupid. And also, like, I kind of did it as well to try and get Nainggolan into the team. You know, that red Nainggolan is a beast, but why force the narrative of a team to fit that Nainggolan in, when instead I could just use him as an incredible impact sub? You know, why do that? You know, I've got a couple of good players that I don't use too much because they don't fit into either team. Like the SBC Fernandinho, I find him to be remarkable. I think he's better than Kante when I've used Kante. You know, he's a couple of inches taller, he's got better stats, better in-games, and he's just really good. And I don't use him right now because he just doesn't fit into my team. So why not, if I really want to get Dani Alves in, why not have the 1 team with Fernandinho right centre mid and Dani Alves right back on 8 chem? And still, I checked the stats, that Dani Alves Team of the Year on 8 chem is still better than the SBC Hector Bellerin on 10 chem. So why not just have it like that, you know? But then it comes down to a point of, okay, so I'm having to use Smalling and Bailly because they get the chemistry. It's the only way they get the chemistry, right? And as much as I love Bailly and Smalling as a partnership, and as much as I think that they are potentially one of the best centre-back pairings in the game, during the 3 weekend leagues that I used the Inform Read, I had 3 of my best weekend leagues. I got 33, 32 and 32 wins with Inform Read at centre-back. I'm not saying Inform Read was the reason I got, you know, 33, 32 and 32, but he was definitely part of the reason. His card is ridiculous. Great pace, really high defending and physical. Once you put an anchor or a shadow on him, he basically becomes a complete, complete defender. And I don't use him anymore because I need Bailly in the team for links. So again, I've suffered someone who does well to add in somebody who doesn't do very well or doesn't do as good just to fit in a Team of the Year card. You know, and it's just silly. It's a silly way to kind of like move my team around, I guess. So anyway, guys, going into some of the comments from yesterday's video. The first one is from serial commenter Anton Lund. He says, "Hi Nep, do you think EA should give out 125k packs instead of 100k packs for Elite 1? And is regular Zlatan good as a centre midfielder in 4-3-2-1 with Pogba and Kante? Much love from Sweden." To start with the second one first, I didn't enjoy Player of the Month Ibra in midfield. You know, I've tried a lot of weird things throughout the last few years with players and trying to find what's effective and what fits the meta. Because you don't necessarily have to play a player in the position they're designed to play, right? And over, like in FIFA 15 specifically, when I started playing Gareth Bale as a central defensive midfielder, I took a lot of heat for it. But over time, people have actually realised how good players can be out of position because of stats that fit the meta. When we talk about League of Legends, and I use League of Legends as a reference point quite a lot because for me they are the best esports and something that works. In League of Legends, there are 5 different roles, right? So you have a top laner, which is like if you've never played League of Legends, there's like 3 lanes, right? One goes through the middle of the map, one goes around the top of the map, one goes around the bottom of the map, and then in the gaps in between is called the jungle. So you have champions that are best suited for jungle, champions that are best suited for the top lane, champions that are best suited for the mid lane, and then you have 2 champions at the bottom, one which is like your typical damage dealer, and one which is a support, which starts off in the bottom lane supporting the damage dealer because the damage dealers are typically very weak early on, and then the support typically starts to get involved in the whole game across the whole map to help the whole team. And there are certain champions that are suitable for more than one specific role. Like there are certain champions that are suitable for top lane that also can play support, or certain champions that are suitable for mid lane that can also play jungle, like, or top lane that can also play mid lane. Like there are certain champions that are suitable for several different roles. In FIFA, this is no different. There are certain players that are suitable for certain different roles based on the actual stats that they have rather than the position that they have. For example, we're finding that players with high pace and high agility are making for better strikers than some strikers. And that's because in this game, the meta says that high pace, high pace, high agility strikers with decent finishing are typically what works in this game. The reason for that is because of the LB sprint boost, because of the LTRT dribbling, because of how well that they can maintain their balance after riding tackles and stuff. So to go back to the original point, I've tried a lot of different players in a lot of different positions this year to try and just find something that works that people wouldn't usually think of. And I've played Diego Costa at centre midfield for, I think, over 300 games now. You know, I wouldn't have thought that he would have been a successful midfielder. I didn't like him at striker, but I wanted to use him because I spent a lot of coins to get him. I tried him at centre midfield, and he's been great. I don't know if he might be like costing me games because of his high attacking work rate or because of his low defensive stats, but I notice him. I find him to be decent in the game. You know, he pops up and scores some big goals. He's nice and tall. He's got good physical stats. His short passing is really good. So he's an effective midfielder for me. But when I tried Zlatan there, it just went missing. I never noticed him. He wasn't winning headers. He wasn't scoring goals. It was just useless at centre mid. So I would say that Zlatan Ibrahimovic at centre mid would not be a good option. Zlatan Ibrahimovic at striker, he is just class, man. In terms of the 125k packs for Elite 1, I mentioned this on Twitter and I've seen some stuff on Reddit about it, and we even talked about it briefly in the previous video. I believe EA just need to change the number of games required to play in the weekend league. I think 40 is just too much, especially because of the timing that they've given the people to play the games. There's no point starting it at 7 AM on Friday because for the majority of the players, you know, for European region, that's useless. Starting at 7 AM on Friday, people have got school, they've got work, they've got, you know, things to do, to the point where they probably can't even play until early on Friday evening anyway. You know, I mentioned this before, EA added an extra 24 hours to the weekend league, but they added them at such an obscure time that it doesn't actually really benefit people at all, really. Which is interesting. This guy that I came up against here, by the way, guys, Mr. Blob, he's got a really nice team, and from kickoff, he tried to play for penalties. He would pass it around his defence constantly. He did not try and get forward. The only time he tried to break forwards through the whole game was at the end of the first half. He'd passed it around the 40th, 41st, 42nd, 43rd minute, etc. Then when 45th minute came, he decided to have one attack to, obviously he knew it'd be half time after he lost the ball. And that's where his one shot and my one save on De Gea came from. Really frustrating game. I really had to like keep my composure and keep my concentration levels up. You can see here by the match stats, he had one shot, he had 61% possession, but he had 8% possession in my third, and I only had 7% possession in my third, showing and kind of proving that he just spent the whole time passing around his back line. I stole the ball off him a fair few times. I was unable to make the most of my chances until that corner in the 85th minute, and I won the game. I don't understand people that play like that. I don't know why you're literally playing for penalties. And it's not like he was playing defensive and trying to hit me on counters. He just wasn't attacking. He would just pass the ball around the defence in the midfield. If he got up to his halfway line, he would turn around and kick it back to his goalkeeper and stand there still and wait and start again. So he literally wasn't interested in attacking. I think his game plan was to pass it around until the 45th and have an attack, and then pass it around until the 90th and have an attack, and then hopefully score, and then do the same in extra time, and if not, go to penalties. And it's just a stupid way to play FIFA. We came up against someone who did it previously, like many weeks ago. The guy ended up with like 91% possession against me, or even 93 or 94% possession against me, because he just passed it around his defence the whole game. It's just a silly way to do things. But yeah, in terms of like the weekend league, I believe that it would be better to change the wins down to 25 like PC or to 30. I put it on Twitter today. I said for people to favourite my tweet if they agree that EA should reduce the games down to 25, and it currently has 2,000 likes in like 30 minutes, which is crazy. It just shows how many people want less games. Hashtag TAS made an interesting point that if the games get reduced to 25, it will make the people in the top 100 more random, because the regionals would be more random, because way more people will get 25-0 than can get 40-0 or 39-1 every week and end up going to regionals, and I do agree with that. So maybe 30 games would be better, just shaving off 10 games per week would be a little bit better than 25. And it's just I don't know, for me it's too many games. It's just too many. I'm playing 40 games a weekend. I'm sacrificing a lot of time. Obviously this is my job, so for me it's a little easier to do it, because I don't have like a regular job to go to or school to go to. I don't have sometimes I explained before, like your parents are like, we're going to the auntie's house today, and you don't have a choice, you have to go, like I don't have that kind of in my life. So I do still get to spend time with my family on the weekend, just not the quality time that I would like to, because right now I'm sacrificing for my work. I know in the long run it will pay off for me in the long run, when I've made enough money to not have to care about work anymore. Hopefully, that's the plan anyway. Life never really goes to plan, but hopefully in 3 to 5 years I'll be in a position where I don't have to do anything. I can work leisurely, and can spend really good quality time with my family. That's like my life plan at the moment. But there are people that don't have that luxury. You know what I mean? And EA need to realise that 40 games a weekend is just too much, as well as the fact that you could say, okay, people could play 20 games. They're not forced to play 40 games. But the price structure, as Anton has kind of like touched on here, the price structure isn't very good for those that can't play many games. If you're only an average player and you win 10, if you play 20 games, like 20 games in itself is a lot of games. And let's say you're only good enough to win 10 games. If you win 10 games, that gets you to what? Silver 3? So Silver 3, yeah, 10 games is Silver 3, 10,000 coins. a premium gold players pack, and 2 premium jumbo gold packs. So you get 2 15k packs, 1 25k pack, and 10,000 coins for 20 games. Compared to what you get if you win 30 games or 32 games or 34 games, that's really bad, you know. Especially as you're saying, like, somebody has to be able to win 10 games, let alone play 10 games or 20 games or 30 games to actually achieve those prizes. So to go to your initial point, do I think they should give out 125k packs instead of 100k packs for Elite 1? I think they should just like completely overhaul the prize structure in the first place. You know, for me, it's crazy that somebody can get 29 wins and somebody else can get 33 wins, and the entire difference is just 30,000 coins. You're winning 10% more games, 10% of the whole game total, not 10% more games, but you are winning 4 more games than me. 10% of the total games you're winning, and you get just 30,000 extra coins. We talked about it many times before. I really hope they change the way the prizes are kind of designed. It doesn't hurt anyone to give more, you know. So I wish EA would give more. I wish they would do more. I wish they would change the prize structure. I wish they would change the monthly prize structure. You know, Bateson came up with a pretty decent idea that in monthly, to make it different, like regardless of Elite 1, Elite 2, Elite 3, which is all the same. I don't know why they segregate it. I wish that they would give you more prizes. But if you finish Elite, you should get the bronze, the silver, and the gold prize as well. So you should get that 1 bronze player, that 1 silver player, the 3 pack of golds, and the 12 pack of golds. I think that would be pretty damn awesome. But I know EA hear this as well, because they've changed so much over the course of the year so far this year to fall in line with what the people want. So I know that they know the monthly rewards are silly, and they just aren't changing it. So for me, it seems like they think that they've got it right. So hey, there you go. Amir Meliji says, "Hey Nep, don't you think PS4 users should be guaranteed one of the top 3 informs when they get a top 100 for the month? Because it's somewhat unfair that they grind so many games in a month and straight away don't get a legend like Xbox users do. I've seen people get top 100 monthly and don't even get a walkout. Interested to know your opinion." No, not really. This got 500 thumbs up, but no. Because then that's unfair on the people. Like in your instance, you're saying it's unfair that PlayStation users don't get a legend, and you've seen some top 100s not even get a walkout. So you're saying that a top 100 on PlayStation should be guaranteed one of the best players to make it fair. But what if your legend is Valderrama, who's garbage, and you also get not a walkout? At that point, you're now then it's unfair on the Xbox. Unfair on the Xbox users, because hey, I got Valderrama and garbage. Like, I know if you would have said to me, Xbox users would trade the untradeable legend for a guaranteed top 3 player of the team of the week because it would be more useful to them. There are only 4 or 5 legends that are actually usable in FUT champs. You've got Hullet, you've got you see Vieira a lot, you see Petit a lot. You see sometimes the legend centre-backs a fair bit, Beckenbauer, Desailly, Ferdinand. You often see the George Best from the pros. But other than those few legends, there's not really that many legends that anyone uses or cares to use, and they're untradeable. So yeah, I think ultimately, no. I think it would be highly unfair on Xbox users if PlayStation users were guaranteed one of the top team of the week players, whereas Xbox users weren't. You know, like legends are on Xbox. It's part and parcel of being Xbox. It's, if you don't like the fact that you don't get a legend, go play on Xbox. It's that simple, I guess. One Love MUFC says, I always start off the weekend league very well, but always seem to decline the more games I play. For example, this weekend league I'll go 9-1 in my first 10 games, but in my last 10 games I'm going 3-7. I've heard of other people suffer the same way as myself. Thoughts? Yeah, man, I mean, I go through the same stuff, you know, usually I start really strong and I end really strong and I have a tough middle. And some people say that it's, you know, you start matching up against people with that many wins or in that ELO and stuff, but I don't know how ELO works. We don't know how ELO works, so you can't just say it like that simply. But this weekend league, I went 4-0. I then lost back-to-back games against opponents I really should have probably taken wins against. Not should have. Could have taken wins against. I always get that mistaken, and people think that I feel like I'm talking about games that I deserve to win. I don't necessarily deserve to win the game, but I could have won the game. Those are the ones that frustrate me the most, the could-haves. You know, I could have won that game. And in all the games that I played, the games that I could have won that I didn't win are the ones that annoy me the most. But yeah, so I went 4-0, then 4-2. By the end of this video, we're 20-5, which means I went 16-3 outside of that, which is amazing. But I went from 20-5, and this is a spoiler for the future videos. If you don't want to hear it, mute for the next 10 seconds. I finished on 29 wins. So I went from 20-5 to 29-11. So my last 15 games, I won 9 and I lost 6. That is not good enough. And I don't know where it comes from. Like you have a good period and you have bad periods. I don't know why it happens or how it happens, but it happens, and it seems to happen to the best of us. You know, it's finding that consistency, finding that thing, that edge. That will be the difference of you finishing where you finish now or finishing 1 or 2 tiers above it. And to get that, to find that consistency, you've got to do what I'm going to be focusing on this week and just figuring out your problems so that you can work on them. I'm going to start playing a few games again this week against you know, Bateson and Marshall, maybe against a few more games against David Myler if he's up for it, against some of the pros, just to really kind of like hone in where my problems are so that I can figure them out. You know, I know my problems defensively are that I rush, I panic defend, I lunge. Like I know that's a problem of mine, and I need to just you know, condition myself to stop just diving into tackles, basically. But offensively, I'm pretty good. You know, I think my attack is one of my more the better parts of my FIFA game. But there is a lot I don't have in attack. You know, when somebody plays a specific style against me, and we've discussed this before, when someone plays defensive or park the bus against me and plays for counters, that's my downfall. I hate people that play park the bus because I can't beat it. And the reason why I can't beat it is because I haven't figured out how to beat it. So once I can figure out how to beat it, that won't be a problem for me anymore. So that, you know, 3 or 4 losses that I get every weekend league because of people playing defensive counter-attack, I'll now be able to turn into wins, and it will improve my game massively. For me to be able to improve that, I need to play against difficult opponents, tough opponents. And I said this before in a video. For you guys, if you're struggling and you don't have the resources to just hit up a good player and be like, hey, play me because I need to figure out my, you know, my game, just go into divisions. If you're stuck in Division 4 or stuck in Division 3, that is your game. That's your tough player. Once you figure out a way to beat those dudes, you'll be fine. This year in FIFA, more than any other year in FIFA, record is far less impressive for anyone. You know, last year, or sorry, in FIFA 15, I had like an 8-to-1 win-loss ratio. In FIFA 16, I had like a 5 or 6-to-1 win-loss ratio. And now in FIFA 17, because of how competitive the game is, I've got like a 3.5 win-to-loss ratio, which is actually amazing, considering how difficult and how competitive the game is. But I would happily take 20 or 30 losses in a row if it meant I improved my gameplay so much to the point where I would start getting 34 wins every week instead of 29 or 30 wins every week in FUT Champs, you know. So what I'd say to you is, if you're stuck in Division 4 or Division 3 and you keep bouncing between divisions, don't care about your record. Don't sit there and be like, oh no, I don't want to keep playing in divisions because I'm worried that people will laugh at my record. Don't even care about your record. Play those games, learn, and then go into FUT Champs. And when somebody says, "Oh my God, you've got, you know, 500 wins and 400 losses, you suck," be like, "Yeah, but I just finished elite in FUT Champs." So, you know, use your losses, accept your losses, and use them as a way to build and you know, become a better player. And again, it's so easy for me to say it right now in a low pressure situation when I'm just here reflecting and looking at what I did wrong over the weekend. It's so much more difficult to have that mindset when you're actually playing in the games, because this game just triggers you so much, so easy. And I'm the worst for it, man. I'm the worst. I'm the best for saying you should do this and you should do that, but I'm the worst for actually doing this and actually doing that. And I know for a fact, if I'm able to keep my cool in far more weekends, I will win more games. The weekend that I got 34 wins, the weekend that I got Elite 1, it was the weekend where even in the games that I was losing, I was just like, hey, that's FIFA. You know, never mind, I'll win the next game. You know, don't take this loss as a personal vendetta. Just accept the loss, move on to the next game. You'll find this weekend league, I lost 2 in a row at 4. I lost 2 in a row at 12, I believe. I lost 4 in a row, I think, in the next episode. And then I lost 3 in a row at some other point. That's the worst thing. The worst thing is playing on tilt, is playing triggered, because you end up just costing yourself more and more and more losses, which triggers you more, which sets you into a horrendous cycle of losing, and that's just not good, is it? Finn O'Donoghue says, Nep was watching one of your old Road to Glories and you got a 1 to watch Sansone in the silver upgrade when you were supposed to get no rares. That is because Sansone's base card is a common. So when common cards have special cards, they still count as common cards. So that's also why that bronze from Everton, I can't remember his name, that got the inform a couple weekend leagues ago, he was packed so often because his base card is a common card. So he's really quite popular in the the 400 coin packs. But anyway, guys, as you can see on the screen there, we finished our first 25 games with 20 wins and 5 losses. That's not a bad ratio. But to say that I only finished on 29 wins, where I could have got up to 35, I would have expected to get to at least 32 wins, you know. So I'm quite disappointed in myself that I didn't get up to Elite 2 and only finished in Elite 3. That on the screen, guys, is the team that we're using. I have been rotating the 2 teams, but that is the team that we finished this episode on. But this is going to be the end of the video, guys. So if you did enjoy this, be sure to leave a like, rating, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. But for now, guys, I'm out. Peace.